Hey everyone, this is Gina and Darren here talking about our 17.5 milestone kickoff for the runner group. And I will start off with talking about the runner fleet team and what we're taking on. Share my screen to this new planning issue. So we are not shipping anything new during 17.5. We're doing a lot of foundational work to be able to improve our project CI/CD analytics page. And that foundational work will allow us to make changes, front-end changes like updating the status, the pipeline status graph to contain some more information and be able to show you that data over a certain period of time. So there's a number of other issues like that. That's more of a foundational thing that we are doing. And that was a very quick overview. So as far as UX, I am going to look into some of the recent feedback that we've gotten from SUS surveys around runner and then also around pipeline and job metrics. And hopefully we'll get some new good insights that we can use to create a better experience. I'll pass it to Darren to talk about runner core now.
Hey, thanks, Gina. Let me just quickly share my screen and quickly run over what's happening in the world of runner core. Just really fast, a quick reminder, this is our direction page for runner core. We also have one for fleet visibility as well. So if you're, as I mentioned before, if you're looking for the 20,000 foot view, you can start here. It's updated every month, and so we'll revise it again in the next couple of business days once we complete shipping 17.4. But this will give you like that, again, a 20,000 foot view of some of the big ticket items that's on deck for us from a feature capability perspective. And so last time I talked about the big thing that we're shipping in 17.4, which I'll just kind of point out here, is that the fleeting, which is our new auto-scaling technology for GitLab runners on public cloud virtual machines instances, the plugin specifically for Azure is coming or transitioning to GA in 17.4. So that kind of wraps up a really significant piece of work for us in that we now have all three major cloud, as a 17.4 ship, when 17.4 ships, all three major cloud providers will have generally available plugins for those major cloud providers using our new auto-scaling technology. And so that was some of the big theme that we want to get done this year. So as I look at what we're doing in 17.5, and I just zoom into my screen just a little bit, and we now have this great planning issue based on some new technology that we're rolling out here in GitLab that we're also super excited about. For runner core, you can see the first table is about bugs. And as I always kind of talk about in each of these kickoff videos, we invest a lot of time, a lot of resources, each iteration on bugs in the runner core code base. And that's kind of, you see here, those are the bugs that we have on deck. We understand, and I clearly understand from you, the community and customers that reach out to me all the time on specific bugs that are in our backlog. Yeah, would love to go faster. I mean, but again, we just have to prioritize as best as we can. And we are, as I mentioned, every iteration making significant investments in addressing these bugs in the core code base. In terms of new capabilities that's coming in runner core in 17.5, there are any specific new features that I want to call out. But what I hope we'll be able to get to in 17.5 will be a couple of interesting things that helps for customers that are using our Kubernetes executor or that are interested in understanding how best to configure our Kubernetes executor when setting up a runner fleet at scale. So again, hope we get to this in 17.5, but the first thing I want to call your attention to is that specific to Kubernetes, I'm hoping that we can get to running some tests with GitLab Runner and Carpenter. We've heard from a number of different customers that they've decided to adopt Carpenter, and we want to at least have a really good point of view from our side as to how that interacts with GitLab Runner and Kubernetes. So again, it's not a feature capability per se, but it's going to be like, hey, here's what we found. Here are our guidelines. Here are recommendations. Basically, content that we'll be adding to our docs as a result of this. And then related to that, here is I really want to, hopefully we can get to this and really get that first version of this configuration guide out there. you may be asking yourself, well, how is this guide or document different from some of the other content that we currently have in the docs related to Kubernetes or setting up runners? What I hope to have as sort of the MVC for this is sort of a more prescriptive sort of like best practices guidance, like, hey, here are my requirements, or here are your requirements, and based on your like high level requirements, here's kind of what we think the recommendation would be in terms of thinking about the kind of compute to use for setting up your Kubernetes-based runners, the type of configuration you might want to consider, et cetera, et cetera. As you may or may not know, our Kubernetes executor is one of the most heavily used or adopted executors for runners in terms of folks that need to host runners at scale. And so this is going to be like that first foundational piece that really helps us mature our guidance from a best practices perspective. So again, 17.5, not a whole bunch of new features or capabilities that are coming in the Runner core code base, but some important capabilities from the perspective of giving you best practices guidance and some other information around running or using GitLab running Kubernetes. So that's it for Runner core 75. Back to you, Gina, to take us home.
Thanks, Darren. Yep, we're very excited for 17.5 for runner core and fleet visibility. And as always, if you have any feedback or questions for us, feel free to reach out to either Darren or I. Thank you.
Yeah, see you next time, everyone.